Hello everyone, welcome to this video Alteryx hands-on questions. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel. Now let's get started with today's topic. In my previous video, we have discussed standard and batch macros. In this video, we'll discuss the iterative macro. So iterative macro, as we discussed previously, are like while loops in which the function will keep repeating for a certain condition. Now let's get on to our question. So for iterative macro, we'll try to find out a number is Armstrong or not. Let me just explain you what an Armstrong number is. So Armstrong number is a number where for the number of digits, like if you see here, we have 153, which is 3 digit number. The cube of 1 cube, 5 cube and 3 cube will be equal to 153. So you see 1 cube is 1, 5 cube is 125 and 3 cube is 27, and if we add them all we get it as 153. This is a Armstrong number. Other numbers are 370, 371 and all. So the logic to get this is, first we'll have to get the individual numbers, then we have to find the cube of them. Okay, if it is a 3 digit number, if it's 4 digit, we have to find the power of 4. For this example, I am taking 153 as an example. First step would be to find a remainder. So when we find a remainder by dividing it by 10, we get 3. Cube of 3 is 27. We'll initialize the sum as 0 in the beginning. So we get 0 plus 27 is 27. Next would be, we'll divide the original number, which is 153, by 10 so that we get 15.3. Since it's a decimal, we'll just use a floor to make it the value of 15. So I have used the floor function. This number is greater than 0, so we'll continue with the next step. We'll take this 15 as a new number now. We'll find the mod, which is 5. We'll find the cube, which is 125. Then sum of 125 plus 27, okay, which gives me 152. Again, I have to find a division. So division of 15 by 10, okay. 15 by 10 will give me 1.5, which after flooring will give me 1. And this is also greater than 0. Next, we get 1 as a number. The mod will be 1, cube will be 1, and the sum of 152 plus 1 is giving me 153. Next, when we try to divide, the number is 0 and it is not greater than 0. So we'll stop the loop. This is how it works in programming languages. But here we'll have to do certain different changes to fit it in Alteryx. One of the change which we will do, because as you see here, we have number is a number divided by 10. When we try this in Alteryx, right, we have already doing a mod, so it will be dividing 3 by 10 instead of 153 by 10. So for that case, we can use a temp variable to store the value. Okay, and even the count will not stop when it is greater than 0, okay, because at the same time the number and the variable number will be equal to 0 in the same pass. If we do this, then it will be stopping for the last character, which is 1. So we'll use create a iterative variable and we'll loop it until the iterative variable is less than equal to the count of the number, which is, so this 153 is a 3 digit number, so until it is less than 3, we'll try to loop this. Now let's get on to Alteryx to say how it works. First of all, let's take a input, sample input. User input we will not take here. Sample input, let's bring in a text tool. I'll give it number. I'll get s number, which is the temporary variable, and finally the own number, because we have to check whether the cube of all the numbers is equal to the original number. So own number is the original number, and we'll take the number of digits from the user. This number will be same, okay, this will be same. Since 1 is a 1 digit number, I'll give 1 as a digit parameter here. Once this is done, I'll just right click and change it to a macro output input. Okay, other thing was we could have bought in here and we could have used a macro input. Either way works fine. Okay, so if you see now the table is created in this format. So since I mentioned this value of sum will be 0 initially, right? So we'll have to initialize 0. Same with count, because we'll be counting the digits of this number, so we'll have to initialize count as 0 as well. For that, I will just bring in an input tool, which is a text tool. Let me write it as sum and this as count. We initialize both to 0. Okay. The other task would be to append both of this. For that, let me bring in an append tool. I'll append this input. Sorry, it's getting connected differently. I need to connect this to true. I think I should have connected it before, that's why it is not connecting now. Just converted it and let me try to join it now. Okay, so now it is joining and I'll append this part as well. Okay, so after this I will just convert this to macro input. Because macro, if we try to drag now, it will always try to change the value, or it will think that we are trying to change something. Once this append is done, we'll start with a function. For that, let me bring in a formula tool. I'll connect this input to this formula. Now let's start with our formulas. Looks fine. The first one we'll have to do is the mod one. Okay, so we'll keep the number as the same number and we'll bring in the mod function where we'll pass the number and 10. So this will give us a remainder. The next thing which we'll have to create is the power. Okay, so here we'll again bring the power function which we have used in previous video also. We'll pass in the num which we are getting from the above one. So sequence is very important. Okay, the creation happens based on sequence here. So first this will be created, then this will be. So here the number 153 will not be given to us. Here the number 153 mod 10, which is 3, will be given to us. And this is a digit which we are bringing. So power is done. Next we'll create we'll use the sum, okay, which we have already defined, and we will sum this with the power, okay, here. Next would be, so this is done. Now we have to do this one, right? We'll have to divide the number by 10, but at this point if we try that, right, then the number is not 153. Okay, it is 3. Okay, if you see here the number will be 3, it's not 153. So we'll bring in we'll bring the snum variable which we have kept it same as the normal variable. Here we'll divide it, but first we'll use a floor function because otherwise it will keep the decimal part and we will automatically round it up to the higher one. We want it the lower one. Create this number and let's divide this by 10. This is our temporary variable. Next we should create, this is done, right? Now we have to, since we didn't use number, right, we have to put this into number now. For that we'll again take the num, and if snum is greater than 0, then we'll use the snum value for this. Else, like the last digit, right, snum will already be 0. So in that case, we'll use the num value which is coming from the mod. To end this, we have to use end if. Okay, so we had to do this extra step. Okay, in programming we can directly do this step, but here we have to do this extra step to again interchange the values of num and snum. For the count also, let's count. We have to count a number of digits, right? So we'll count it if this snum is greater than 0, then we will increase the count. Then count plus 1. Else we'll keep it as 0 and we'll do is as end if. Make sure everything is integer and all. Okay, here why did the power became string now? Needs to be integer. Okay, so count is done. For this count to check, we will have to bring an iterator. Okay, so let's create a new variable which is iterator. Here we'll use a predefined function. We'll go to this x symbol, we'll go to constant, and let's bring in iterator number. Where is it? The iterator value is not there because, let me click on this blank space. We need to define that this is a where did that option go? We have to define that it is an iterative macro, otherwise it will not give us. So let me make it iterative. Now I go to my function here, iterator, constants. So you see a new number is there, that it's called the engine.iteration number. This will be enabled only if we are enabling that we are going to use this as a iterative macro. So we'll just plus this as 1, so that this starts from 0. This will also keep looping. Okay, this count will keep increasing. The final thing would be to check whether it is an Armstrong number or not. For that, we have kept that in onum, we have kept the original number. If onum is equal to the sum here, then it's Armstrong. Else no. And we'll close this. Okay, so this is how a function is defined. This also has to be an integer. Still is showing some error, pass error at 7. It should be done now. Okay, next would be the condition for it to loop. For that, let's bring in a filter tool and create a custom filter where first would be the num which we are getting. We have to connect this to this. Okay, for some issue, number should be greater than 0, and we'll check whether this iterator, right, the count is less than, the count should be less than or equal to our count. So our condition is done. For output, we'll bring in our macro output. We'll have to keep two outputs, okay, one for the iteration and one for this. So this is output 15. So if this number is greater than true and all right, in that case we need to loop this process. Okay, so I'll connect this true to this input anchor, and in false case I'll connect this to the last one. Okay, so if you see, this is output, this is name output 14, this is output 15. I need to configure this part. I have to go to interface designer, settings. For iteration input, we'll keep input 8 because only one input is there, and for output we need 15, not 14. Okay, here we'll do auto config by name, warning. Okay, this is done. Now let's uncheck this. Let's save this as Twitter. To try to run it, let's try to bring in a sample input where we need our num, we need our snum, onum, and the digit. Then we'll bring in our macro. Connect this input to this. For output, we can have two browse tools. It's giving some error. Type mismatch string provided where a number is required. Version 1. Okay, we'll have to let's check for 153, which we discussed. And this is a 3-digit number. Let's try running this. So we get it that this is an Armstrong number. Okay, can try one more. The 2-digit number. So we get it that this is not an Armstrong number. Okay, this is how we will be configuring an iterative macro. Thank you so much for watching.